Okay. Give me a replay. If you're watching a replay, if you're rocking with us on this beautiful morning, my name's Haziq Ali. And I want to welcome you to Good Morning Millionaire. We always start off by, represent where you're from and how good you're feeling out there. Had an incredible day yesterday. Really enjoying this new year right here. Like I feel like this is gonna be a good one right here. You know what I mean? It's amazing how when you set goals, things start to just kind of manifest themselves. It's almost like it's not even about the goal, like we always say how it's about who you're becoming. Yeah, my man Kev in the house. Morning, brother. It's wild how we always talk about how, it's not really the goal, it's the person you're becoming because of the goal. Man, that's a heck of a point. A lot of people don't catch that. But also what's wild about goals is how they start bringing all this other stuff into your mind space that maybe you weren't even considering before. You get a good goal, and next thing you know, all these pieces start coming into your life that you didn't even realize, you needed to achieve the goal. It's crazy, but it starts to happen. My man Travis in the house. Okay. Flono. Josie Simmons. Good morning, Erica. Hope everybody's feeling good this morning. How was your day yesterday? Did we get it done? You know what I mean? Oh man, my man Nelson in here. Arsenio in the house. Shouts out to everybody rocking with us on YouTube as well. Make sure you check in, let them know where you're from. We got a couple minutes before we get started. Share the broadcast. Please subscribe to the page too, y'all, because Facebook is not just going to naturally tell you what's going down. You got to subscribe on your own. Every day you might not like the topic that we're talking about, and that's cool, but you still kind of want to be there. You know what I mean? So just throwing that out there. Hey. Good stuff. Let's get this thing moving, y'all. Make sure you share the broadcast. We're going to get started in a couple minutes. Good morning, millionaires. Whether you're tuning in from the Millionaire Minded Facebook page, maybe you're tuning in from my page, maybe you're tuning in from YouTube. Special shouts out to everybody that's on YouTube. Make sure you check in so we can show you some love. All right, we about to get this party started. I'm gonna call in on the live line. Hey, Crystal checking in. What's up, Queen? Yeah, right on. All right, we're going to get this party started. Make sure you are sharing the broadcast. A lot of entrepreneurs, this is important for a lot of the entrepreneurs we know, because a lot of times we get caught up in setting goals, but we set the completely wrong goals. Some of these goals are conscious. Some of these goals are subconscious. We're going to have some fun with this, but tag an entrepreneur who needs to know it. I'm about to go ahead and call in on this live line so we can get busy. Hey. Yeah, goals are good, y'all. But sometimes we find ourselves setting the wrong kind of goals. Let me call in on this live line so we can get this party started. Okay, Chandra in the house. Good morning. My man Ernest in the house.
There are 20. Please enter your... Thank you. Please announce yourself. Entry and exit tones are off. All participants are muted.
Okay. Good morning, millionaires. I hope everybody's feeling good this morning. My name is Haziq Ali, and I'm here to tell you this morning that saying yes to happiness means learning to say no to some of these goals that are draining you. Man, oh man, I know setting goals is important. We decided that. But at the end of the day, you know, you really only need three things to be happy. We talked about that yesterday, right? You need somebody to love, you need something to do, and you need something to hope for, right? That's all we really need to be happy. So what the heck is going on with how complicated we make our lives? I'm going to tell you what's going on. We complicate it because we put ourselves in place with a bunch of shallow desires. We plug ourselves in with a bunch of shallow goals. We tie our happiness into possessions and real quick thrills. We tie our happiness into impressing the wrong people. And what we are saying this morning, what we started talking about yesterday, is that some of this is a fallacy, and it's a fallacy that builds in failure, y'all. It's a fallacy that builds in failure. So we're going to talk about this morning. It's 5 more of these goals that are complete, absolute anchors on your fulfillment, complete, absolute anchors on your ability to speed through this thing. Yesterday, we talked about how you don't need to please everybody. Y'all remember that? Yesterday, we talked about how you don't need everything to be easy. We talked about how you don't need everything to have certainty. We talked about how a lot of times, okay, the certainty is not God. You know what I mean? We get caught up in the needing to know what's going to happen next. Like, I know I'm going to quit this job on Friday. Oh man, but if I do, I'm going to miss Martha's birthday party that we planned on. It's like, nah, you know when you hear God talking because you don't even know what the next step is. We talked about that a little bit yesterday. We talked about how you don't need to feel better than other people. You got to share this with somebody. If you know somebody who's caught up in this idea that they always got to feel better than somebody, they're always competing. They're scrolling through Instagram, and that's where they decide how to set the standards of their own life. Listen, that don't make them weird. They call them influencers for a reason. But my point is, you don't need that as one of your goals. You hear me? You don't need to be better than other people. We talked about how the losers compete and how the world class creates. How we not looking to compete with nobody because we are created by a creator to be creative. And so therefore we create, right? And then we talked about how we don't need more control over everybody and everything. Well, if you're ready for number 6, give me a number 6 in the comments. Let me see how it's going down. Give me a number 6 in the comments and then give me a share. I mean, if you're taking notes, this is a good time to be kind of like jotting certain things down because this is a moment right here. If you refer back to this list, you may find yourself able to logically, with a bedrock of logic, pull yourself out of these crappy feelings you'll have sometimes. Right? You'll be able to pull yourself out of it with just an extended and stretched sense of awareness and perception. It's amazing. Here's the 6th goal you don't need. Y'all appreciate those shares. Y'all appreciate that. All right. Here's the 6th one you don't need. Check it out. You don't need all of these immense moments of glory. You don't need all these immense moments of glory all the time. You know what I mean? Yesterday we was talking about like I was reading this story of this mountain climber and how, you know, literally you talking about frostbit fingers and toes and all of that. Appreciate that, Nelson. Appreciate that, Jennifer. Everybody is sharing it, man. Thank you so much. Listen, you have frostbit extremities. You're climbing them. You're passing dead bodies, literally, that are frozen into the mountain as you're climbing up this joint. The air is getting thinner and thinner. There are different base camps and whatnot. And then finally, you make it to the peak. You get to see that view. Well, that's pure ecstasy, right? Now, some of us may never experience that. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and say most of us won't. But there are other little mini versions of ecstasy in our life, right? Graduations, right? Wedding days, lavish vacations, right? You and the whole family did a reunion on some resort. Now, full of fun, celebration time, no doubt about it. But these times pass because time passes. That's what time does. We don't get this at first, y'all. And so what we do is we attach our happiness to these. Now, of course, you know, if you're going to be happy, then you need to. But what I'm trying to say is it's not just appreciating these huge things like a wedding. If you really want happiness, that's the wrong goal. The goal is to understand that lasting happiness is found in the appreciation of all the small things, right? I'm talking about just putting together a meal for your family, right? I'm talking about ironing a shirt really good so you get out all the wrinkles. You know what I'm talking about? I'm saying it like sometimes just driving down the highway, y'all, and just looking at the sun come up, or sometimes the sunset, or sometimes the skyline just looks amazing. These are moments where you can get a wave-like rush of joy if you'll let it happen. Maybe you got the wrong goal in your mind. You get what I mean? I need you to share this with somebody if you want them to hold you accountable to finding more happiness in the little things. This throbbing appreciation for just a life you feel privileged to lead. You gotta let somebody in on the secret that happiness is an inside job. If you're ready for number 7, give me a number 7 and a share. Give me a number 7 and share. Here go number 7, y'all. But how about that? How about if you give me happiness is an inside job in the comments, if you can agree with that. Happiness is an inside job. You cannot keep on looking at life as though if I don't have a huge vacation, if I'm not, most people never get a standing ovation after high school. Do you know that? Do you know that? Well, listen, man. Just because you don't graduate every day doesn't mean you can't be grateful every day. You hear me? It's an inside job, man. It's an inside job. And then that leads us to number 7, which is the 7th goal that you don't need, right? Everybody say it with me. I don't need other people to constantly validate me. I don't need other people to constantly validate me. I don't need other people to constantly validate me. Check it out, y'all. Relationships are essential. I believe that's why every holy book is like networking advice. But happiness is an inside job. It can't be exclusively dependent on external validation, even when you talk about relationships. You can't depend on other people for yourself. Because what'll happen is you'll become bitter. First, you'll become vulnerable. Then you'll be super hurt when somebody does. If your happiness is dependent on this other person's actions, what's going to happen is you're going to find yourself hurt, man, because other people are human. That's why in that 4 Agreements book, it always tells us never take anything personal. And boy, that's easier said than done. But remember, you're not doing it for them. You're doing it for yourself. That's your power. You're giving all your power to somebody else when you're allowing their validation to create your value. Never let this one of them Instagram pieces of wisdom, right? Never let somebody's inability to see your worth determine your value, right? If you don't know your worth, please believe nobody's going to overvalue you. That's not how it works. If you learn to show your value, if you learn to know your value, this is why we're always studying this stuff every morning, right? We're bulletproof in our philosophy. We're getting to know ourselves, right? And once you begin to know your value, it's much easier to show your value. And then you're in step with the kind of tonality. You're in step with the kind of eye contact. You're in step with the kind of energy that begins to attract opportunity. And sometimes that opportunity is money. Sometimes that opportunity is resources, it's relationships, right? Which always bring more opportunity. But my point is, learn to love and respect yourself first before you love the idea of other people loving and respecting you. If that ain't too deep. All right, if you're ready for the next one, give me a number 8 in the share. Is this feeling good, y'all? Am I making sense? Am I making sense? I'm not going too fast, right? Everybody feeling me? I can't wait to hear what Clubhouse got to say. Oh, man. Listen to me, y'all. You have to get into a place where you're doing you. People look at that with shock and awe because it's so rare. Most people are sheeple. You hear me? But these are goals we get caught up in because we see it in the movies. We see it on TV shows. You get what I mean? This ain't everybody loves Raymond, and this ain't everybody hates Chris. You know what I mean? This ain't neither one. This is a thing called life. where you dancing between your desires and your fears, right? This is a thing called life, where you dancing between certain people loving you and respecting you, and other people can't stand you because of who you remind them of. You remind them of shortcomings they have. You remind them of ambitions that they wish they had seen through. And it's an amazing thing, man, because your life is either an example or a warning. That's how it go. All right, here's number 8, y'all. Another thing you don't need is perfect harmony in all your relationships at all times. Oh, how are we going to say that? How are we going to say that? You don't need perfect harmony in all your relationships at all times. And I meant it. Harmony is great when it's sincere. But here's the thing. A lot of times we try to fake it, y'all. A lot of times we try to fake it. Effective communication is king. You got to talk it out sometimes. After all, the only way you ever going to be happy in life, and I mean real happy, I'm talking about that fulfilled happy, where you fully feel that hole we all got inside, right? That you can't fill with sex, drugs, rock and roll. You can only fill it with purpose. And if you're going to fill it with purpose, it got to come hand in hand with integrity. This means you ain't settling for less. This means you saying to yourself, dust settles, but I don't. Right? Can somebody give me that in the comments? Dust settles, but I don't. You got to be clear about what it is you want. And that includes being clear about what you want in relationships, right? That means you're clear about asking for what you want and what you need from people who you are giving the value of your time, that you are giving the pleasure of your time. Am I making sense to you? Am I making sense? Somebody feel me? Man, I hope somebody understands what I'm saying. When you are behaving in ways that are in agreement with your personal value system, everything's different. Everything's different. Once you've made a decision, most of your choices are made already. Life gets a lot easier. But what's not a requirement is perfect harmony with everybody. Sometimes we got to sound out of key for us to learn the tune we playing. And sometimes to get everybody in tune, you have to really listen. You have to be willing to make a mistake. You have to be willing to jump out there with a point of view that will be proven wrong eventually. It's okay. But what we're not looking for is harmony, not in all relationships at all times. Sometimes we need to change our friends or change our friends. But harmony is not a requirement. Howard Thurman, man, that's Martin Luther King's mentor. He said something wild, man. And it's one of my favorite quotes that I've ever heard in my life. He was like, the 2 most important questions in life are 1, where are you going? And 2, who's going with you? And if you get them in the wrong order, you lost already. Ain't that something? If you're ready for number 9, give me a number 9 and a share. Give me a number 9 and a share. If that feel good to you. If that feel good to you, give me a number 9 and a share. Give me a number 9 and a share. Give me a number 9 and a share. I hope you taking notes, man. I hope you taking notes. Note takers are money makers. You'd be shocked how this will help you, when you're in a leadership position and you see people going through it. This will help you, tag an entrepreneur, somebody that needs this. Here's something else you don't need, y'all. I got 2 more for you and we out of here. Here's number 9. Here's something else you don't need, y'all. You don't need this perfect time and place, this superior time and place. You don't need that. That's not what you need. That's not what you need. Millionaires, there's no such thing as a perfect time or place. But the reason that so many people find it hard to be happy is they always see the past better than it was. We Al Bundy out this joint. It's like, in this high school football game, I scored all these touchdowns. And it's like when we go back in real life and look around, it's like patches of dirt on the field. Nobody's even there. It's like the teams suck. You know what I mean? We always romanticize the past. But here's what's crazy. Not only is the past better than it was, that's already weird, right? But what's crazy is we also make the present worse than it is. And then we make the future less resolved, less certain than it needs to be. So how is that a recipe for anything other than failure? If the past is always so awesome, everything about the past was so great. And then now right here in the present, everything's jacked up, right? But then in the future, it's so shaky. What if we did the opposite, y'all? What if we did the opposite? What if we appreciated the past without reliving it? Right? What if we handled the present with confidence? Okay. And then what if we face the future with certainty? What if we were absolutely certain with all the resources that we got at our disposal? We are absolutely sure this time 6 months from now, this and this and this are going to be different because we're going to put this into our daily habits. We already know that things don't happen in a day, things happen daily. We all know that this transformation, the butterfly turns into the caterpillar turns into the butterfly, not in a day, but in a daily transformation. We understand that, right? So what if we decided to appreciate the past instead of trying to romanticize the past? What if we decided to admit that today is incredible, right? What if we decided to look at the present with all of the confidence that we deserve to look at it with all the things God has given us, starting with our breath, starting with our heart's ability to beat, starting with the fact that when I just command it, I can move my fingers. Somebody just do that real quick. Take your brain and move your fingers real quick. You're a walking miracle. You hear what I'm saying to you? And if I want, I can approach the present with that type of confidence that I'm here for a purpose, on purpose, with a purpose. And then I can approach the future with a sense of certainty. But I know it's already done. I can begin to celebrate the fact it's already done. I can say a prayer and then go get what I just prayed for. Is that a fact? You're going to be tomorrow where your thoughts. Listen, if all of us are just living an echo today, if all we're doing is living an echo of our past thoughts, that means the way to change the future is to change what we're thinking now. If right now we're living the way we were thinking yesterday, the way to change how we're living tomorrow is to change how we're thinking today. That's why we call it millionaire minded. Can somebody hear me? Right now, you're where your thoughts and actions have brought you. You're going to be tomorrow where your thoughts and actions are going to take you. The bottom line is you can't stop the future. You can't rewind the past. The only way to live is to press play, start the freaking music, and dance, baby. Nobody gets out alive. But the goal we got, right? The goal we got is waiting on the perfect time and place. And God is a practical joker because God will give you the perfect opportunity at the exact wrong time. I can't tell you how many times it's happened in my life. Give me a number 10 in the share. We got to get out of here. We only got a couple more minutes, man. I hope somebody hear me, man. You don't want to finish that race and find yourself in the wrong place. You know what I mean? Boy, you running, just running like, you know what I mean? Mess around, get to the end of the race and you somewhere you ain't even want to be. Boy, that's cold. I don't know if that's success or failure, but it sounded to me like a nightmare. You know what I mean? You better run for real happiness. That's why we give you that vision board on We Are Millionaire Minded Instagram. That's why when we say our affirmations every morning, we get you looking at your dreams because at the end of the day, man, you got to think about it. We spend most of our day thinking about our nightmares. Keep it real with me. Keep it real with me. We spend most of our time thinking about our nightmares. Tell them, Miss Tyson. Tell them, Queen. Ain't no such thing as a perfect time and place. It's just a perfect opportunity. And then what will happen is all creativity comes from restrictions. Isn't that incredible? All creativity comes from these restrictions like time and place. Your God force blossoms only when it has to. Oh, man. All right. This is the last one I got for you. We also don't need happiness 24/7, y'all. We also don't need happiness 24/7. You know what I mean? I hate to break it to you, but it's just not something that we need, right? Absolutely nobody is happy 24/7 because you can't be. It would have no meaning. To be happy would lose its definition. You get what I'm saying to you? It sounds like cliche, but joy ain't even really joy unless you've had pain. I'm not trying to get all philosophical and existential, but you can't be happy unless you're unhappy sometimes. It's a harsh truth. I know. But just keep in mind that it's perfectly normal to experience considerable frustration when you're on your way to greatness. It's perfectly normal for you to get a little agitated when you're in a transformation process. Literally, the way a tree falls in the forest turns into this gunk, falls in a swamp. All of the carbon starts to press. They literally call that perturbation. That's literally how it becomes carbon, and then next thing you know, you got a diamond, right? That becomes coal. And then the coal can fall under, only if it falls under certain types of pressure, will it become a diamond, right? Which is like the hardest, it's like, right? My point to you is that, we always say attitude is just a function of whether or not you understand the laws of nature. Well, check it out, y'all. It is perfectly normal. It is perfectly natural, is the way we say it. Natural, as in nature, right? It's perfectly natural that you're going to experience fluctuating levels of happiness from day to day, from month to month, from year to year. Believing and expecting otherwise is just going to leave you jacked up. But millionaires, even when life is less than blissful, right? Even when life is less than perfect, you're still in charge of how you respond. You're still in charge. So what I'm saying this morning is choose positivity. In science, that's a plus sign. Which one you think lead to abundance, positive or negative? You get to choose how you respond. And the greatest act of faith sometimes is that you simply get up and face this thing with a smile. All right, y'all. It's affirmation time. If you checking us out on YouTube or one of those, I totally get it. But I want to challenge you to just try affirmations. It'll blow your mind, man, like how your life will get different, because you'll find yourself in these weird situations where your voice will start to play in your head where you're like, nah, resistance just makes me stronger. I dare you call in. Love y'all. If you on the line, if you on Clubhouse, repeat after me. Take your cool off too. Like say it with some emotion, energy, and motion.